Hi YouTube. Today I'm going to do a video about my favorite keyboard. So I've had this keyboard for about 6 months now. I bought it back in December and it is June now. But yeah, I've had it for about 6 months and I love it. I have access. I have like 12. I have a bunch of keyboards, but this one has been my absolute favorite. And I'd like to explain why for people that don't really understand the keyboard hobby and why would you spend so much money. Here's a breakdown, or like that's just the keyboard. This is the Canon keys receipt for the Icky 68 Aurora that I have. The Icky 68 is actually like an intro. It's sort of like an introductory level board, but funky. Introductory level board that says $255. Yeah. Keyboards, surprise, are kind of expensive. Anyway, there are some really good options coming out now that are like a lot less expensive, but for reasons that I'll get into, I will explain why I love this keyboard. Not only for the price, you can't really get them right now. They kind of sell in drops on Canon Keys website, but I love this board. I love how it feels. I love how it sounds. And recently I updated the way it looks, changed the keycaps because I got my first ever GMK set that I ordered like a year and a half ago. If that tells you anything about how long it takes for GMK stuff to arrive. If you know keyboards, you know. But sometimes these very custom sort of one-off keycap sets, they take a long time to produce. But let's get into some of the reasons why I love this keyboard. So this is the board here. I absolutely love how it looks. I love the transparent plastics that they used. I don't necessarily care about RGB. This has white LEDs on the back and that is it. There's no like backlighting necessarily, but that doesn't bother me. The keycaps here are GMK Honor in the dark set. Got this little Ditto Boba that I got from my partner. Actually, she won it in one of the raffles. If you know anything about how artisans work, they're very exclusive and they're kind of hard to get a hold of sometimes. So I got lucky, and this one is very cute and I'm very happy with it. And I love how it looks on this board. I used to have all of my really cool, like I have a few artisans here that I really love. I used to have them in this cluster, but to clean everything up, I just went with this. It's a dark navy set. If you can't really tell on the camera, it's a dark navy set, and this charcoal finish on the keyboard really just, I don't know, it just does it for me. The switches we have in here, and here's one of the gripes that I have with this board, and I don't even think it's the board's fault. It's not really the board's fault, honestly. It's the combination of the switches that I used and the board itself. I don't know. I can't figure out how to fix it, but it's the only gripe I have. It feels so good and sounds so good that I can't be bothered to change anything. And now I might soon. I just ordered some new switches that I might want to try out on this board specifically, but I love how this board feels and sounds. And you're going to see what my gripe is right now. You see that? So this board is a hotspot board, and the switches I decided to use in this are the Kinetic Labs Hippo switches, which I've lubed. I really like how these switches feel lubed, but I, for the life of me, cannot keep these switches seated into the plate, meaning every time I pull off a keycap, I lost it. Every time I pull out a keycap, it pulls the switch out with it. It's so frustrating. So whenever I go to change keycaps, I have to do this to almost every single switch. Now there are some switches that will stay seated, and other switches that I've tried, I'll show you. Here's some ACO CS silvers. Right? It's in there. Now watch. It stays seated. And I could do that with, I've got some banana splits here. I'll do the same thing. See? I felt crazy for the longest time because every time I would switch out keycaps and everything, I would be pulling all the switches out, and I was like, man, what is wrong with this board? It's not the board, it's the switches. But anyway, that's the only thing I don't like about this board. Moving on from that, or I can't say that. It's the only thing I don't like about this combination, which stinks because I really love these switches. But if it means that I could just leave it assembled and just never think about it again. But you know, we're keyboard enthusiasts, you know, like we want to switch stuff out all the time. Maybe, I don't know, maybe I'm weird. But moving on to the reasons why I love this board, it has a lot to do with the switch choice. Stock, the hippos are kind of scratchy and they kind of don't sound as good, but lubed, they sound really good. But this is what the board sounds like. Yeah, that's why I like this board. I have striven, I've tried really hard to make a good sounding board, and with the like finally getting my first GMK set, and it actually, like, I purchased this GMK set a long time ago, way before, a year before I even bought this keyboard. And when I finally got this keycap set, it was like, it's just perfect. The theming, I feel like, it's just so good. It just looks really good. I love it. Now, should you spend $350 on a keyboard? Actually, no, it'd probably be more than that. It'd probably be like $400. Should you spend that much on a keyboard? Probably not. If you don't care about how your keyboard feels or how it sounds, don't do it. But for me personally, I love it. I love how this feels, and I love how it looks. I'm pretty sure it has a lot to do with the polycarbonate plate. I love it. I love this feeling of polycarbonate and the sound of polycarbonate. The first board I ever built was a Tofu 60 with a brass plate with Gateron black inks. And talk about a very stiff keyboard. It was very stiff. But that was the first board I ever built. I loved that board. I still love that board. It's up there. It's the purple one. Do I ever use it anymore? No, but it reminds me of the first time I ever built a keyboard and how cool that felt. So number one, sound. Number two, feel. I would say number three has to be looks, because it's a stunner for me. It just hits just right. You know what I mean? You know, something just is like, just looks so good. It's this is for me. That's what it is. So anyway, I just wanted to make a video talking about my favorite keyboard. It's the Icky 68 Aurora. Currently, maybe it'll stay there forever. Maybe it won't, because I've got other keyboards on the way. But yeah. So like the video if you liked it, dislike it if you disliked it. Leave a comment. Let me know what your favorite keyboard is in the comments. And if you don't really have a favorite keyboard, just leave an emoji. It adds engagement, which really helps. Feel free to follow me on Twitter and Twitch. I stream there every so often. I am starting to do commissioned keyboard builds, and it's really fun, and I'm having a good time with it. So make sure you check it out. Actually, my next stream is tomorrow. I'm going to be building a keyboard for a friend in my Discord, and it's going to be really cool. I'm really looking forward to it, and it would be really cool to see you there. And finally, make sure you hit the like button, subscribe, do all that cool stuff, and we'll see you in the next video. Bye.